KURINJI Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
Neet, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
KURINJI Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
Okay, now some facts about pollen grains. So already, this particular side heading we have started in previous video. So there I have given information regarding translator apparatus in finally. So in Asclepidaceae family members, for example, Calotropis and Orchidaceae family members, we have seen translator apparatus. There pollen grains join together to form a bag-like structure, pollenium. So that kind of information we have seen. Now in this video we are discussing polyspory and remaining things. So remaining, what are the some facts are there regarding pollen grains we will discuss. So maximum information, unknown information only. So let us learn. Let us focus to learn. Right now, polyspory point of view. If more than 4 pollen grains are found in a tetrad. Okay. So one more time, once you see there. Suppose polyspory is nothing but polyspory means if more than 4 pollen grains are found in the tetrad, then it is called as polyspory. So for example, Cuscuta. So means polyspory means the presence of more number of pollen grains or more than 4. Presence of more than 4 pollen grains. Suppose if we are finding in a tetrad, so that particular thing. So here that particular thing we will be taking as polyspory. Best example, Cuscuta. Next one, aeroallergens. So in this particular case, pollen grains of some plants which are present in the air cause allergy are known as aeroallergens. Means here aero means aero means we know very well the pollen grains which are present in the air. Pollen grains which are present in the air. So what is happening? So creating or causing some kind of allergies, aeroallergens. So where we can be seen this kind of aeroallergens means this kind of pollen grains we can see in Chenopodium. We can see in a Chenopodium or Parthenium. So Parthenium best example already we have seen Parthenium point of view. So this particular Parthenium you will be calling by one more name, carrot grass. And some other members, sorghum is there, and one more is Amaranthus members, Kira. So Amaranthus members is one of the Kira's type. So Amaranthus. So means here this kind of members definitely pollen grains which will cause allergy. So best example Parthenium we have seen in our textbook, but other than the textbook Chenopodium now we are learning sorghum, and one more is Amaranthus. Next one here, hay fever. It is a kind of fever type. Hay fever. It is caused by pollen grains of ambrosia. So hay fever or high fever. Okay, so it is caused by the pollens of ambrosia. Okay, this particular point also just to save in your mind. Suppose if they ask means this particular point I didn't get before, likewise instead of that one at least listen or learning of that particular point at least one time is better than the nothing now. So that's why I am giving this extra point. So high fever is caused by the pollens of ambrosia. Next one, pollen tablets and syrups. Okay, pollen tablets and syrups point of view. So what are the new points means? Here no new points they didn't they given. So definitely all points are old, means well known points only. So what are those? Pollen grains of many plants are rich in nutrients. So this point we know very well, and it has become a fashion in recent years to use pollen tablets as pollen or food supplements. So why? Because here, because of the availability of more nutrients in the pollen grains, so we will be taking these pollen grains as food supplements. So this particular point we know very well. Next one, in a Cyperaceae family members, in a Cyperaceae family members, only one functional pollen grain is formed. So once you see there, only one functional pollen grain is formed from the pollen mother cell. So that particular phenomenon we can observe in Cyperaceae family members. In a Cyperaceae family members, what is the point here? We can say functional pollen grain. Only one functional pollen grain is formed. Okay, formed from pollen mother cell. So means from one pollen mother cell, how many functional pollen grains of formation taking place? Only one. So we can see in Cyperaceae family members. Best example, Cyperus. If you watch this one, if you learn this one for 2 or 3 minutes now, so definitely will be well known one. Next one, largest pollen grains. So here approximately 5 to 6 points are important. Largest pollen grains, Mirabilis jalapa, 4 o'clock plant we will be taking now. So there we can see largest pollen grains, Mirabilis jalapa. Next one, smallest pollen grains. Smallest pollen grains we can see in Myosotis or Myosotis. Okay, Myosotis means the smallest pollen grains, Myosotis, and largest pollen grains, Mirabilis jalapa. Next one, longest pollen grains. Once you see there, largest, smallest, longest. Okay, largest one is Mirabilis jalapa, smallest one is Myosotis. Myosotis. Next one more is largest pollen grains point of view. So best example is Joshira. Joshira already we have seen in second topic. So that is like a sea grasses. So their pollen grains long and ribbon shaped or ribbon like without exine. So this point is a new one. So means we know very well Joshira pollen grains is the longest pollen grains we have seen, and ribbon like pollen grains we have seen, but without oxine or without exine. So this particular point we don't know. Now let us learn this particular point. Okay, now here the Joshira point of view. So this particular Joshira sea grasses, pollen grains, long pollen grains and ribbon like pollen grains without exine. If you take pollen grains, 2 layers are there, exine and intine, but here the exine is absent in case of pollen grains of Joshira. Next one is Nemec phenomenon. Nemec phenomenon is nothing. So here 8 nucleated embryo sac is there now. So embryo sac madiri pollen grains are present. Means here the pollen grains appear like a 8 nucleated embryo sac type. So such particular pollen grains we will be observing in hyacinthus. It is a particular plant. So in hyacinthus plants, so we can observe the structure of pollen grains like 8 nucleated embryo sac type. If pollen grains appear like 8 nucleated embryo sac type. Okay, now next one, viability of pollen grains. So viability of pollen grains point of view. So all these points we know very well. That is in some cereals such as rice and wheat, pollen grains loss viability within 30 minutes. So viability of pollen grains point of view, some cereals like rice and wheat. If you take there these 2 types of plants, pollen grains viability or the pollen grains loss viability within 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, and some members of Rosaceae, Leguminaceae and Solanaceae members, they remain or they retain viability for few months. Few now I didn't write, but for months means, but for few months correct one. Okay, so thereby if you take rice and wheat, no, pollen grains availability is there for 30 minutes, means within 30 minutes that what are the pollen grains are liberated from the male reproductive system must be reached to the female one. Suppose if it is reached after 30 minutes, means that particular pollen will not form the pollen tube on the stigma. So why? Because viability just 30 minutes, or within the 30 minutes that particular male reproductive systems products must be reached to the stigma. Okay, ma. Next one, in some members, for example Rosaceae, Leguminaceae, Solanaceae members, if you see there, no, there the maintenance or the retaining of or the maintenance of that particular availability will be there up to few months. Okay, so now here in this particular case, so here this side we have learned the information of which one, some factors of pollen grains. So first factor is translator apparatus. Translator apparatus means in Calotropis members and in Orchidaceae family members, no, pollen grains are joined together and form bag like pollinium. Bag like pollinium. So pollinium of Calotropis is a constituent of translator apparatus. So translator apparatus means, so pollinium of Calotropis we will be considering or constituting of which one? Translator apparatus. That is the first fact of pollen grains. Next one, second fact point of view, polyspory. So means the presence of more than 4 pollen grains present in the tetrad. So that kind of a phenomenon we can see in a Cuscuta. And next one, aeroallergens or aeroallergens. So means definitely some kind of pollen grains causes allergy. So best example is Parthenium and Echinopodium. Parthenium also known as carrot grasses and sorghum, amaranthus. Likewise, there are different types of examples are there. So here we have seen the information of a Parthenium also. No. So what is a Parthenium information? Definitely that brings or that causes chronic respiratory disorders. Chronic respiratory disorders, asthma and bronchitis. Already we have seen all these examples or information of Parthenium. Next one, this Parthenium that came from the that came into our India as a contaminant with imported wheat has become ubiquitous in our India. So means here already, so I have given this explanation what is the actually while taking off or bringing off wheat seeds from the foreign. So without our knowledge all these parthenocarpic seeds are migrated to our India. So thereby here now in our India, so these Parthenium species or members are ubiquitous, means wherever you see we can find out the presence of Parthenium members. So that one that causes, or the pollens of Parthenium causes chronic respiratory disorders, so for example asthma and bronchitis. So next one, hay fever or high fever is caused by ambrosia. Next one, pollen grains. So uses how we will be using in the making of tablets and syrups. Already we have seen. Next one, in Cyperaceae family members, only one functional pollen grain is found in the or formed from the pollen mother cell. Okay, generally 4 must be formed, but here one and only the functional pollen grain is there. Okay, best example is Cyperus. Next one, largest pollen grain mirabilis. Next one, smallest pollen grain some myosotis. Next one, longest pollen grains we can see in a Joshira marina or Joshira. So there the pollen grains shape is ribbon like. Ribbon shaped, ribbon one, and their exine is absent. Next one, Nemeca phenomenon means, so here the presence of pollen grain like 8 nucleated embryo sac. So this particular one is discovered by Nemec scientist. So scientist name itself Nemec only. So to give respect to that particular scientist, now we have given name as Nemec phenomenon. Nemec phenomenon means here the pollen grains appear like 8 nucleated embryo sac. So this kind of a phenomenon we can find in hyacinthus. Next one, viability of a pollen grains point of view. So wheat and rice pollen grains, viability is there, or pollen viability is there. So up to 30 minutes. So thereby within 30 minutes that particular pollen grains must shed on the female reproductive system, or the receptive of female reproductive system. And some other members, Rosaceae, Leguminaceae and Solanaceae members, so pollen viability is there for few months. So that is a small information related to this one. So next one, in mature anther only 2 layers. If you see there, if you take particularly anther, epidermis is there, endothecium is there, middle layers are there, next one tapetum is there, likewise we have seen the information. So there, what is the point? Once you see, so middle layers as well as the tapetum will be disintegrated in or absent in matured anther. So already this particular important point we have seen in previous video, means middle layers and tapetum both are absent in a matured anther, means so thereby what is the point here we can save in our mind? So epidermis and endothecium only are present in the matured anther, and these two members only acting as a protecting layers where in matured anther. So thereby, so let us read this line once. In a mature anther only 2 layers, one is epidermis and endothecium are present in the form of outer covering layers. So means here these two members only. So why? Because so out of 4 layers, while development of young anther into the mature anther, so 2 layers are disintegrated or 2 layers are disappeared. So thereby now epidermis and endothecium only are acting as outer covering layers. So that is a main important point. Next, one more best point here. அது என்னன்னா, dehiscence of anther is most of the angiosperms is longitudinal. Don't forget here. So now suppose if you take a dehiscence of anther, pollen anthers are there, how these anthers will be like a dehiscence process takes place, how it takes place means the type of dehiscence of anther is like longitudinal. Longitudinal, this particular point you don't forget. So there are different types are there, but in angiosperms, dehiscence of anther mostly taking place by like longitudinal arrangement or the longitudinal dehiscence. Next one, now let us see the information of development of male gametophyte. Now in flowering plants, so the maximum information we know very well, but 1 or 2 points definitely here, new points I have given to take or to receive those points. Let us learn this particular information one more time. Okay, development of male gametophyte. In flowering plants, microspore or the pollen grains are considered as the first cell of male gametophyte. So in flowering plants, microspore or pollen grains, microspores or the pollen grains are considered as first cell of male gametophyte. Okay, now here the what is this particular point we know very well, already we learned this one. Now here pre-pollination development, this only side heading newly I kept to appear newly, so I have changed that side heading. Ipo paringa, pre-pollination development means before pollination. So what are the modifications or what are the changes going to be taken place in the pollen grains? So just simply to see up newly, I have changed the side heading as pre-pollination development. So there, what is information? In the beginning of this process, first of all, what is the size of the pollen grains? That is 25 to 50, means 25th to 50, means 25 to 50 mm in size, isn't it? Next one here, now let us see the information. In the beginning of this process, nucleus of a pollen grain divides by unequal mitotic division. This important. So in this particular process, first of all, what is happening, sir, means nucleus of a pollen grain So here the pollen grain would lay one nucleus will be there. That particular nucleus divides by unequal mitotic division. So that will be divided unequally. So by the process of unequal mitotic division, so here two cells formation takes place, resulting two unequal sized nucleus are formed. Okay, so thereby here two unequal sized nucleuses are formed. Now the small nucleus which is present near the wall is called as generative nucleus. This particular point we know very well, means the small nucleus we will be taking as like a generative nucleus, and here the shape of the generative cell is the shape of the generative cell is vermiform or spindle shaped. So here information regarding generative cell here it is there, but shape here I have written. That's why after completion of this explanation here I am telling you. Now the shape of the generative cell is vermiform. It is a new term, we people we don't know. So vermiform or spindle shaped. Next one, if you continue to learn the information of generative nucleus, so generative cell is a small nucleus, and so definitely it is present in the cytoplasm of large nucleus or the vegetative nucleus or tube nucleus. So that particular information in our textbook itself we have learned, but now new point is vegetative nucleus is also known as tube nucleus. Now here let us learn. So this particular generative nucleus and the large irregular shaped nucleus which is present inside of the cytoplasm or inside the cytoplasm is known as tube nucleus or like a generative nucleus. Means here the shape of the nucleus of a vegetative nucleus or the tube nucleus is irregular shaped nucleus, but whereas here the generative nucleus shape of the generative cell is spindle shaped. Next one here, what are the main important points? Now the pollen grains, so means here one is a vegetative nucleus is there, and one is a vegetative nucleus is there, and one more is one is a generative cell is there or nucleus is there, and one more is vegetative nucleus is there. So next one, this particular vegetative nucleus only we will be taking as tube nucleus, and here the size is a comparison point of view. So here generative nucleus is smaller than the vegetative nucleus. Now here in one pollen grain definitely we can find out the two nucleuses. So thereby two nucleuses are present in a separate cells. So that's why here that particular cells we will be taking as bicelled stage. Bicelled stage condition. Next one, in over 60% of angiosperms pollination takes place in bicelled stage. Means two-celled stage already we have learned now. So here they have taken that one as bicelled stage. Both are correct only, both are same only. Okay so in over 60% of angiosperms pollination takes place in bicelled stage, and in remaining angiosperms pollination occurs at three-celled stage. Three-celled stage. In this one, suppose here if a pollen grain consists of two-celled stage only, at the times or house or three-celled stage formation takes place means, so here what is happening, generative cell divides and form two male gametes. So when particular generative cell divides by mitotically and form two male gametes, automatically we can observe the presence of three-celled stage condition. Three-celled stage condition, and this particular point already we have discussed. Now post-pollination development. Which one? Post-pollination development means after pollination what is happening. Now before start to discuss about the second one, means post-pollination development, let us see the pre-pollination or pre-pollination development. Means before pollination, so definitely here pollen grains nucleus divides divides unequal mitotic division, so thereby two unequal sized nucleus as a formation takes place. So one nucleus name is vegetative nucleus and one more is generative nucleus. Now vegetative nucleus and generative nucleus, so in comparison of these two, like a generative nucleus is smaller than the vegetative nucleus, and if cell's point of view, generative cell is a small one and floats in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. So this particular information we have seen. Next one, vegetative nucleus shape is irregular and the generative cells nucleus is spindle shaped. Already we have seen. Next one, what is the information? So here most of the means here when two nucleuses are present, no, so that particular stage condition we will be taking as bicelled stage. Bicelled stage condition. Next one, most of the means 60% of angiosperms, no, so bicelled stage we will observe. Next one, in remaining members, no, three-celled stage we are observing. So thereby here the generative cell divides. So this particular generative cell divides and form two male gametes. So that is information. So to be learned under pre-pollination development. Now post-pollination development information concerned. Now post-pollination, meaning is after pollination. Post means after only, no. So post-pollination development, what is happening? Once let us see. Now further development of pollen grains takes place. After completion of pollination only, no. After completion of pollination means now our pollen grains are there on the where stigma of carpel or pistil, isn't it? Means now that particular information we have to learn. Now further development of pollen grains that takes place on the stigma of carpel after pollination. So na solli achievada. So thereby here what is the point? Further development of pollen grain or pollen grains or pollen grain takes place on the stigma of carpels after pollination. So means the entire phenomenon means here the what is the development of post-pollination phenomenon is, you know, everything is takes place on the like a stigma. Why? Because this particular stigma only receptacle are acting as a receptacle of pollen grains. Now the pollen grains absorbs. Here 5 lines are there. 5 lines koncham important. Listen carefully. Ipo paringa pollen grain absorbs moisture and sugar content from the stigma. Ipo stigma only definitely we can observe which one sugar content and moisture. Suppose ipo moisture and sugar content is not there, mean sugar. Suppose if you see like a sugar content, if you see then like gum madar davaro. Ipo suppose that kind of sticky nature is not there, means pollen grains cannot sticky. Pollen grains cannot be stick to the like which one stigma. Okay, so that's why here on the stigma, so definitely we can observe the small amount of or the small quantity of sugar content with moisture. So thereby here what is happening due to this? Which one? Due to the moisture and due to the presence of sugar content on the stigma, what is happening now? Due to this, the volume of cytoplasm is increased. So means which one's volume? Due to this one, volume of cytoplasm is increased, means whom? Which ones? Pollen grains. So thereby it exerts the pressure on the both outer layers. So means here when that particular cytoplasm volume is going to be increased, cytoplasm cell ulledana irukka. So when that particular cytoplasm absorbs the moisture and the sugar content, no, automatically volume of the cytoplasm is increased. Automatically what is happening? No, some kind of pressure is created towards the both walls known as exine as well as intine. At the time because of this one pressure intine. So because of this pressure, here it is important. So because of this pressure, intine comes out. Intine means second layer is there, no, exine and internally. Intine second layer is, you know, that particular intine comes out through any one germopore. Means here any one germopore means we can find out so many number of germpores on the pollen grains. So thereby, so due to this pressure, no, definitely pollen tube formation takes place in the presence of like or with the help of intine, or intine directly involves in the formation of pollen tube. So here one more important point, so here where sporopollen is absent on the egg sign, so there we can find out the presence of germ pore or pollen pore. That one we know very well known points, I am not concentrating. So this kind of new points comes means at the time only myself concentrating, so try to learn here. So thereby here what is happening, because of this pressure, so intestine comes out. So second layer like inner layer, no, that will come out through any one germ pore in the form of tube like structures which is called as pollen tube. So means here this pollen tube formation taking place with the help of intine, and here this particular intine also is made up of cellulose and pectin. So already we have seen this one. So cellulose and pectin, and exon is made up of sporopollenin, and this particular sporopollenin is definitely helps to the like pollen grains like means here because of the presence of pollen grains, no, we cannot degrade the pollen grains. So by taking off any kind of alcohols or chemicals or whatever may be that acidic or basic medium. So why? Because this particular sporopollen is has or it has rigidity, and it is a very tough. So actually these points we must study under pre-pollination development, and here like up to the formation of a pollen tube we can be discussed under the post-pollination development. So once this particular pollen tube is formed now, means here one more phenomenon we have to be discussed after pollination. So here in pollen and pistil interaction we have seen now what is suppose if it is a right type of pollen grain means, so stigma gives permission to that pollen grain to germinate. So such kind of a pollen grain or such kind of a phenomenon we will be taking as a right type or like a compatible type. Likewise we have seen now, so that particular information also we know very well, but I didn't discuss that one. Why? Because we know very well. So next video, in the next video definitely I will discuss regarding which one structure of microspore or pollen grain. So there I will discuss about the entire structure of pollen grains. So there also few new bits are there. So while watching this video, don't skip. Just 30 minutes you try to spend to revise this entire information. So thereby two uses are there. One is for public examination point of view, that will covers, and Neet examination point of view also I have given new important bits. So take care and be safe at home.